All right. I was going to shoot this video all in one day. Sometimes that doesn't always work out. Had a little rain come in here. Nice slow soaking rain all day yesterday. But we got our pole beans and runner beans trellised. Let's take a look at what we got. So there was quite a few things in the garden that didn't make it through Hurricane Sally, all the rains that it dumped on us a few weeks ago. But one thing that did make it was all these pole beans and runner beans, and we showed you planting these on our previous YouTube video. So we've got on this first row here, we've got some rattlesnake pole beans. Those are pretty thick in there. I don't think I'm going to thin them. I think I'm just going to let them go. They're just now starting to form some runners there, you can see, and they'll grab hold of that trellis and climb on up there. Second row here, we've got our Christmas Lima beans, and it's amazing how fast these things take to this trellis and start climbing up there. You know, this trellis has only been up a day, and you can see these guys right here have had no trouble finding it and are starting to make that climb to the top. And then if we go walk on around here, our last row, we've got these Scarlet runner beans here. We can see they have also started climbing the trellis here. Not quite as much as the Christmas limas were, but they're more than the rattlesnake beans, and they'll be working their way up there pretty soon. So we've got everything trellised here using our Hortanova trellis netting, which I've told y'all about in the past. Really easy to set up. That's why I like it so much. It's just, you know, easy to do as a one-man job. A lot easier and faster than cattle panels. Is it quite as strong as cattle panels? No. Does it do just, you know, the same job with things like these pole beans? Yes. Is it easy to get rid of? Just roll it up, pull up the plants, throw it away? Yes. So it's a convenience thing. I really like it just because it's easy, it's fast. You know, we just roll it out, throw it up with some zip ties and T-post, and there we go. I use a big roll. I think it's 320 something feet, and this is 3 40-foot rows, so I still got a good bit on that roll. Probably you know, only used a third of it or so, so still got plenty to go here. And happy with how our beans are looking. They're not quite as green as I'd like them to be, and I haven't yet been able to determine if I need a little more fertility here, or if it has something to do with just us having a lot of moisture in the soil. So I'm just going to stand back and wait till it dries up a little bit. They're still not as green as I like them to be. I may shoot a low dose of 20-20-20 micro boost through my injector into that drip system there, just to give them a little bit of pop. I don't want to give them too much nitrogen because we'll make all foliage and no bean, but I might give them a little bit to green them up if that doesn't happen pretty soon. So our beans are hanging in there, doing pretty well. Hopefully we get enough warm weather this fall and don't get too early of a frost. We should get some pretty decent harvest off those there. So we got 3 rows of legumes, and I'm going to add one more legume today. We're going to be planting some English peas. It will fit just right in there with our rotation. We can just put all those crops that are in the same family right beside one another. Throw in another row right there. It will also be a trellis crop. So we'll just have 4 trellised rows there. It'll work real well for our rotation. So English peas. Now, that's what we call them down here in the South. You may hear them called garden peas, sweet peas, or up north they just call them peas because they don't grow a lot of field peas up there. Down here in the south we call them English peas, and one of my favorite things to eat from the garden, fresh English peas. Eat them raw, you can cook them, they're just so good to eat. Now, unlike field peas, which love hot weather and are fairly drought tolerant, English peas like what I call that in-between weather. You know, days in the 70s, nothing too hot, nothing too cold. They could take a little bit of a light frost, but not a real, you know, hard freeze. So they like that in-between weather, which can be a little tricky for us down here in the south, especially in the spring. I don't usually have much luck growing these things in the spring because it goes from cool to hot really quick. We don't always have a lot of that in-between weather in the spring. In the fall, we get a lot more of that in-between weather like we're having right now. And as long as we don't have, you know, some hard freezes come in where it gets down, you know, 20s or so, which is pretty rare. As long as we can stay away from that, we usually get a pretty good crop of English peas. Now, up north where they have pretty mild summers, you know, they can plant them in the spring and grow them well into those summer months because it just doesn't get that hot up there. I'm a little bit envious of that, but we do what we have to do down here, and for me, fall is the ideal time to grow them. So right here is where we're going to be putting them. This little space right here between those sweet potatoes I've yet to dig and that row of Scarlet runner beans there. Now these rows here I put approximately 5 feet apart. I didn't measure these off, but it looks to be pretty much the same distance between those rows there. And I thought 5 foot was pretty generous, but you know, once these things start putting on some foliage, that's going to be a little tight in there. It's you know, 6 foot may have been even better when you're stacking those trellises in there tight. So I give myself a little bit more room right here with these English peas. Sometimes they climb really good. Sometimes they'll get a little bushy kind of at the ground or the base of the plant there. So give them a little more room. Went ahead and laid one line of drip tape there. I'm not going to hook it up yet. Its soil is still pretty damp. I wouldn't say it's soggy or muddy, but we did get some slow rain all day yesterday. Thankfully, we've got some well draining soil right here, and I could still get in here and make a furrow with a plow and lay one line of drip tape there. So that's where we're going to plant them along this row. And we're going to do the same thing we did with those beans there. We'll let the peas come up, and once they get up and going, we'll come in and throw this Hortonova trellis up behind them. So now let's talk a little bit about English pea varieties. Now I think probably the most popular variety out there, just because it's been around for a while and it's what most your local seed stores are carrying, is the green arrow pea. And that's a good one. I've grown that one in the past. I've had a hard time finding any of those this year with the seed kind of rush that we've seen as a result of COVID, but we hope to have those restocked soon. Last year I grew one called Mr. Big, which is known for making these huge long pods, and it definitely did. The biggest English pea pods I've ever seen. Really productive variety. Mr. Big is an AAS winner, which stands for All America Selections. A really good variety. I really liked it, and I will be restocking those on the website within the next week or so. So you can grab some of those if that's a variety you were wanting to try. This year, I'm planting one we added to the site earlier, I would say a month or so ago, and this is called Sugar Prince, if you can see it right there. And so the pods on this are not going to get as big as Mr. Big. Pods are pretty, you know, normal size, 3 to 4 inches long. The great thing about this variety is, well, it's a hybrid, so it's super productive, but it also has resistance to powdery mildew. And that's going to come in handy growing them in the fall, planting them. I'm planting them a little earlier than I normally do. This kind of cool switch has kind of got me triggered to get some English peas in the ground. But anyway, if we do turn back warm a little bit and get some more of that humidity around here, they're going to be able to handle that because they've got that powdery mildew resistance, and the plant should stay a little more healthy. So with a powdery mildew resistant English pea variety, you're going to be able to grow them or plant them earlier in fall, and you're also going to be able to grow them later into spring because of that disease resistance. And we'll show you this hopefully once these things start making. But this Sugar Prince variety can be consumed as what we call snow peas. So before the actual peas develop in the pods are nice and tender, so you can harvest just the pods and snack on those, or you can let the peas kind of fully develop inside those pods there and harvest the peas themselves. So a versatile variety. Uses snow peas, or wait and get those big juicy English peas out of there. So just like we did with those pole beans, we've got two little mini furrows here created by our drip tape layer. So we got one here, the drip tape is right there. We're gonna put our peas in this little mini furrow. We'll end up putting our trellis, our T-post in that mini furrow, leave our drip tape right there. So we're just gonna liberally sprinkle our seeds along this mini furrow here. I like to plant them pretty thick. I've had people ask in the past, can you plant them on both sides of the trellis? Yes, you can do that. I've tried it. I wasn't a huge fan because I got so much foliage that it was tough to find the peas, made harvesting a little more difficult. But you can plant a double row of them and put a trellis in the middle if that suits your fancy. All right. So we got those planted, covered, packed in a little bit. Like I said, I'm not gonna hook up this drip tape quite yet. Soil's a little moist, supposed to get some more rain tomorrow, 100% chance. So whenever I do need to run this tape again, I'll just come out here and put a row start right there and put a row end on the end right there. I'm just gonna leave it like it is for right now. No hurry to get that hooked up as wet as it is, and with more rain coming. So that's going to complete this plot as far as the vegetables I'm going to be planting in here for fall / winter. This other half of this big plot here, once we get done getting the rest of those sweet potatoes out of there, we're doing cool season cover crop in here. I haven't really determined which one I'm going to go with, or if I'm going to use a cocktail or what, but so half of this will be in legumes, the other half is going to be in a cool season cover crop, maybe even a legume cool season cover crop. That would make everything match up nicely. Well, we got some weed pressure over there on the end where I grew some carrots a year or so ago. Some kind of pretty rough cool weather weed pressure that we need to take care of and feed these soils here. So cover crop here, and we'll have some production right here. I'll put some links in the description below to our English pea varieties, so you can grab you some of those and get those planted for fall if your climate allows for such a thing. I'll also put a link to our Hortanova trellis netting. We've got plenty of that, so you can keep those plants nice and supported this fall, grow things vertically, save space, and keep those leaves off the ground. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give me a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell button so you get notified every time we come out with a new video. And if you did enjoy this video, check out these other two videos right here. I think you'll really enjoy those as well. We'll see you next time.